I was 200 miles away at a sales conference when my phone buzzed with a motion alert. Living room camera, activity detected. I almost ignored it. Probably just Bailey, our golden retriever, knocking something over again. That's why I'd installed the cameras in the first place, to check on the dog while I traveled for work. But something made me open the app. The live feed loaded. There was Bailey, tail wagging, sitting by the couch like a good boy. And there was my wife, Rebecca, in the robe I'd bought her for Christmas, standing way too close to a man I didn't recognize. I checked the time, 3:47 p.m., Tuesday afternoon. Then I remembered, the plumber. She'd texted me that morning. Leak under the kitchen sink, called someone to fix it, should be done by noon. I looked at my phone again, 4:37 p.m., 4 hours after he should have been gone. I watched him lean in, watched her laugh, watched his hand touch her waist. Bailey's tail kept wagging, and my entire world tilted sideways. If you want to know what I did next and what I found on the other cameras, hit subscribe, because what happened over the next 72 hours didn't just end my marriage, it ended his too. My name is Ryan Mitchell. I'm 38 years old, and I'm a regional sales manager for a medical supply company based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. It's the kind of job that sounds impressive at dinner parties, but really just means I spend half my life in hotel rooms and rental cars. 2 weeks on the road, 3 days home. Repeat. I'd been doing it for 6 years. The money was good, the travel was brutal. But Rebecca said she understood, said she was fine with it. "You're building our future," she'd say. "I can handle things here." And I believed her. We'd been married for 9 years, high school sweethearts, married at 23, bought our first house at 25. We had the life everyone said we should want. 3-bedroom colonial in a good neighborhood, 2 cars, a golden retriever named Bailey. No kids yet. We'd been trying for 2 years, but nothing had happened. Rebecca said it was stress. The doctor said we were both fine. Just keep trying. So we did, when I was home, which wasn't often enough. The cameras were my idea. Bailey had separation anxiety. When we first adopted him, he'd destroyed 2 couch cushions, a pair of Rebecca's shoes, and somehow opened the refrigerator and eaten an entire rotisserie chicken. Rebecca was at her wit's end. "We need to see what he's doing when we're not home," I said. So I bought a 4-camera system from Amazon. Nothing fancy, $200 for the whole setup. 1 in the living room, 1 in the kitchen, 1 in the hallway, 1 in the backyard. I installed them on a Saturday morning, synced them to an app on my phone, and tested them out. Crystal clear 1080p video, motion alerts, cloud storage. "Now we can check on Bailey anytime," I told Rebecca. She smiled. "That's actually really smart." I thought I was being a responsible pet owner. Turns out I was building a surveillance system for my own marriage. The first few weeks, the cameras were exactly what I'd hoped for. I'd be in a hotel room in Atlanta or Nashville, pull up the app and watch Bailey napping on the couch. Sometimes Rebecca would come home from her shift at the dental office, and I'd see her greet him, scratch behind his ears, let him out in the backyard. It was comforting, a little window into home when I was hundreds of miles away. I'd text her, "Just check the cameras, Bailey looks happy." She'd reply, "He's such a good boy, miss you." Normal, routine, safe. Until it wasn't. The leak happened on a Tuesday. I was in Raleigh for a 3-day conference, presentations, vendor meetings, the usual. Rebecca texted me that morning, "Leak under the kitchen sink, water everywhere. I'm calling a plumber." I replied, "Okay, let me know how much it costs. I'll Venmo you." "Will do. Love you." "Love you too." I didn't think about it again until that afternoon. I was in a breakout session, something about supply chain optimization, when my phone buzzed in my pocket. Motion alert, living room camera. I ignored it, probably Bailey. 5 minutes later, another alert, kitchen camera. Then another, hallway camera. I frowned. That was a lot of movement for a dog who usually napped until 5 p.m. I excused myself, stepped into the hallway, and opened the app. The living room feed loaded first. Bailey was sitting by the couch, tail wagging. Rebecca was standing near the kitchen, talking to someone off camera. Then a man walked into frame. 30s, jeans, navy blue work shirt with a logo I couldn't quite read. The plumber. I checked the timestamp. 3:47 p.m. I frowned. She'd said he'd be done by noon. Maybe it was a bigger job than expected. I watched for another few seconds. He said something. She laughed. Normal enough. I closed the app and went back to the session, but something nagged at me. An hour later, I was back in my hotel room. The session had ended early, and I had time to kill before dinner. I opened the app again, just to check. The living room feed was still active, and the plumber was still there. 4:52 p.m., 5 hours after he'd arrived. I switched to the kitchen camera. Empty. Hallway camera. Empty. Back to the living room. Rebecca was sitting on the couch now. The plumber was sitting next to her. Not across from her. Next to her. Close. Bailey was on the floor, chewing a toy. I watched them talk. I couldn't hear anything. The cameras didn't have audio, but I could see body language. She was leaning toward him, smiling, laughing. He said something. She touched his arm. My stomach tightened. I told myself I was overreacting. Maybe he was just friendly. Maybe they were talking about the sink. Then he leaned in, and she didn't pull away. I sat there on the edge of the hotel bed, phone in my hand, watching my wife flirt with a stranger in our living room. I should have called her, should have texted, should have done something, but I didn't. I just watched. He stood up. She stood up. They walked toward the hallway, out of frame. I switched to the hallway camera. They appeared a few seconds later, walking toward the bedroom. My bedroom. The camera didn't cover the bedroom. I'd never thought I'd need one there. I stared at the empty hallway feed, heart pounding, mind racing. Maybe they were just looking at another leak. Maybe there was a problem with the bathroom. Maybe I was losing my mind. I switched back to the living room camera. Bailey was alone now, lying on the floor, tail still wagging. I waited. 5 minutes, 10, 15. At 5:23 p.m., they came back into frame. Rebecca's hair was messier. Her robe was tied differently. The plumber was smiling. She walked him to the front door. He said something. She laughed. He left. She closed the door, leaned against it for a second, and smiled. Then she walked out of frame. I sat there in that hotel room for a long time, staring at the live feed of my empty living room. Bailey had moved to the couch. He looked comfortable. I didn't feel anything. Not anger, not sadness, just nothing, like someone had unplugged something inside me. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. "Plumber fixed the leak. $280. Can you Venmo me?" I stared at the message. She was asking me to pay for the guy she'd just fucked. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the app's cloud storage and started downloading video files, every camera, every angle, the entire afternoon. I saved them to my phone, backed them up to Google Drive, emailed them to myself. Then I sat back and thought about what to do next. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in the hotel bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the footage in my head. Part of me wanted to call her, scream, demand answers. But another part, the part that had spent 6 years closing deals and managing logistics, knew better. Emotion loses negotiations. Facts win them. I needed more information. Who was this guy? Was this the first time? How long had it been going on? I opened my laptop and started digging.
The logo on his shirt had been partially visible in one of the frames. I zoomed in on a screenshot. Dalton Plumbing and Heating. I Googled it. Local company, family-owned, website with staff photos. I scrolled through the faces until I found him. Travis Dalton, owner-operator. Married, 2 kids, smiling family photo on the About Us page. I stared at his face. This was the man who'd been in my house, in my bedroom. I clicked on the contact page and saved the business number. Then I found his personal Facebook page, public profile, sloppy security. Photos of his kids, his wife, his truck. A post from 3 weeks ago, grateful for my beautiful family, blessed beyond measure.
I almost laughed. The next morning, I skipped the conference sessions. I sat in a Starbucks with my laptop and started building a timeline. I went through every camera alert from the past 3 months, every motion detection, every timestamp. Most of them were nothing. Bailey moving around, Rebecca coming and going. But there were patterns. Tuesday afternoons, always Tuesday afternoons. I cross-referenced them with my travel schedule. Every time I was out of town, there was unusual activity on Tuesday between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. Sometimes it was brief, an hour, maybe 2. Other times, like yesterday, it was longer. I pulled up the saved footage from those days. Most of it was too grainy or poorly angled to see much, but there were glimpses. A man's jacket on the back of a chair, 2 wine glasses on the coffee table, Rebecca laughing at something off camera. This wasn't a one-time thing. This had been going on for months. I called my boss and told him I had a family emergency. I'd be leaving the conference early. He didn't ask questions. Take care of what you need to, Ryan. I checked out of the hotel, loaded my car, and started the 3-hour drive back to Charlotte. I didn't call Rebecca, didn't text, I just drove, and I planned. I got home around 2 p.m. Wednesday afternoon. Rebecca's car was in the driveway. She was home early. Her shift didn't usually end until 4. I parked on the street, a few houses down, and opened the camera app. Living room, empty. Kitchen, empty. Hallway, empty. Backyard, Bailey lying in the sun. I waited. At 2:47 p.m., Rebecca walked into the living room. She was on her phone, smiling. She texted someone, waited, smiled again. Then she walked out of frame. I switched to the hallway camera. She was heading toward the bedroom. I gave it 10 minutes. Then I got out of my car and walked to the front door. I unlocked it quietly, stepped inside. Bailey heard me first. He came bounding down the hallway, tail wagging, excited. I scratched his head. Good boy, quiet. He sat, panting happily. I walked toward the bedroom. The door was half open. I could hear her voice, soft, flirty. I know. I miss you too. He's gone until Friday. We have time. A pause. Tomorrow? Yeah, same time. Another pause, then a laugh. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye. I pushed the door open. Rebecca was lying on the bed, her phone in her hand, smiling. She looked up, saw me. The smile vanished. Ryan, her voice cracked. You're not supposed to be home until Friday. I know, I said calmly. Surprise. She sat up, scrambling. I was just talking to Travis, I finished. Her face went white. What? I pulled out my phone, opened the camera app, turned the screen toward her. I installed cameras for Bailey, remember?
Her eyes went wide. I played the footage from Tuesday, living room, kitchen, hallway, her and Travis sitting too close, touching, disappearing toward the bedroom. She watched, frozen. When it ended, I looked at her. How long? She didn't answer. How long, Rebecca? Her voice was barely a whisper. 3 months. 3 months. I nodded. Every Tuesday. She started crying. Ryan, I'm sorry. I didn't mean. You didn't mean to fuck him? Or you didn't mean to get caught? She flinched. I sat down on the edge of the bed, not close to her, just sat. "I've been traveling for 6 years," I said quietly. "I've been working my ass off to build a life for us. And you've been spending Tuesday afternoons with the plumber." "I was lonely," she sobbed. "You're never here. I felt invisible." "So you made yourself visible to someone else." She didn't respond. I stood up. "I'm going to stay at a hotel tonight. Tomorrow I'm calling a lawyer. You should do the same." "Ryan, please." "I'm done, Rebecca." I walked out. Bailey followed me to the door. I knelt down, scratched behind his ears. "You're a good boy. I'll come get you soon." Then I left. I didn't go to a hotel. I went to a bar, sat in a corner booth, ordered a whiskey, and I made a phone call. Travis Dalton's number was still saved in my phone. It rang 3 times, then a woman answered. "Dalton Plumbing, this is Jenny." His wife. "Hi, Jenny. My name is Ryan Mitchell. I'm calling because I think your husband has been having an affair with my wife." Silence. "I have video evidence, timestamps. I thought you should know." Her voice was shaking. "Who is this?" "My name is Ryan. I'm not trying to hurt you. I think you deserve the truth." "Send me the video," she said. I did. 5 minutes later, my phone rang. It was her. "Is this real?" she whispered. "Yes." She started crying. I had no idea." "I'm sorry," I said, and I meant it. We talked for 20 minutes. She told me about their kids, their life, how Travis had been working late a lot recently. Tuesdays. When we hung up, I felt something I hadn't felt since I opened that camera app. Relief. Not because I'd hurt him, because I wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, I met with a lawyer. Her name was Angela, mid-50s, sharp, no nonsense. I showed her the footage, the timeline, the texts I'd recovered from the cloud backup of Rebecca's phone. She watched it all without expression. When I finished, she leaned back. "This is pretty clear-cut. North Carolina allows fault-based divorce. Adultery is grounds." "What does that mean?" "It means you have leverage. She's not getting alimony, and depending on how you want to play it, you could ask for her to cover your legal fees." I nodded. "I want this done fast and clean." "Then let's get started." Rebecca tried to call me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. She texted, "Please, Ryan, let's talk. I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. I love you. Please don't do this." I didn't respond. Instead, I sent her a single text. "My lawyer will be in touch. Don't contact me directly." Then I blocked her number. Travis's life unraveled faster than mine. Jenny kicked him out that same day, filed for divorce by the end of the week. His business took a hit. Word spreads fast in small communities. I didn't feel bad for him. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. The divorce took 4 months. Rebecca tried to fight it at first, said the cameras were an invasion of privacy, that I'd been spying on her. Angela shut that down fast. The cameras were installed with her knowledge in common areas of a shared home for a legitimate purpose. There's no expectation of privacy. Rebecca's lawyer tried to argue emotional distress, that my travel schedule had driven her to the affair. Angela presented the timeline, the premeditation, the repeated pattern. The judge wasn't sympathetic. In the end, Rebecca got nothing. No alimony, no house. She kept her car and her personal belongings. I kept everything else, including Bailey. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a new job. Same industry, better pay, and, most importantly, no travel. I bought a smaller house, 1 bedroom for me, 1 for an office, fenced backyard for Bailey. I didn't date, didn't even think about it. I just rebuilt, 1 day at a time. A year later, I was at a coffee shop when I saw her, Rebecca. She was with someone, a guy I didn't recognize. They were laughing. She looked happy. For a second, I felt something. Not anger, not sadness, just nothing.
I finished my coffee and left. Bailey was waiting in the car, tail wagging. "Come on, buddy," I said. "Let's go home." And we did. People ask me sometimes if I regret installing those cameras. I don't. Not because I'm glad I caught her, but because I'm glad I know the truth. You can't fix a problem you don't see, and you can't rebuild a life on a foundation of lies. The cameras didn't ruin my marriage. They just showed me it was already ruined. If this story hit home, comment truth over comfort. If you've ever discovered something you wish you hadn't, if you've ever had to choose between ignorance and clarity, if you've ever rebuilt from the ground up, this one's for you. Hit subscribe for more stories about the hard choices that lead to better lives. Because sometimes the worst thing you can see is also the best thing you can know. And sometimes the dog really is the only one who stays loyal.